Hello, it's Chad Warren. Welcome to another video here at the Adventurer channel on YouTube. Please check out the adventurerchannel.com/blog if you enjoy this. Today I want to focus on my perception that there are large numbers of people who consider themselves truth seekers, that being the ones that use YouTube, like myself, to look into how the world works, what's really going on in the world. Why don't people see that an event like 9/11 is completely fake, as is each day's news events such as the postage bombs? I mean, nobody got killed. It's just big talk in the news, and as Zachary Hubbard will show you, every single person who supposedly received this bomb fits into a narrative where their names in Jewish gematria, which is about how God rules the world with the way letters and numbers interact, so that people's names reduce down to a certain number that represents different concepts, and that certainly you can see if a whole bunch of words share a number and share a concept, then there's a pattern there, and that it's impossible for this to happen by chance. People that believe that everything is disconnected, those people are coincidence theorists. If you want to call somebody a conspiracy theorist, that would be like knowing about history. If you take the Roman Empire, for example, conspiracies are common. That's what Julius Caesar, the story written by William Shakespeare, is about. Imagine being the emperor, one of the many emperors of Rome, and constantly having to fear those closest to you, your wife, your children, of poisoning you so they could become emperor, a god person. That is the historical fact of an empire like Rome. And America is a modern Rome, which is a place that's ruled by a psychopathic elite of liars and people who will do anything to have it all as provided to them by a mass of idiots that are their slaves. But I'm going to read a comment that I left in response to a video made by, I do not know the gentleman's name, over at Quantum of Consciousness, I think. Quantum of Conscience. Let's see. He's somebody that's new to me, that I found on the homepage of YouTube, as you do as you're looking for new content after a video. Actually, I found him, a video that I was watching. I believe the last one I was watching was Enter the Stars. And he was talking about the family history of Donald Trump, or Drumpf is his actual name, and how they come from Bavaria, where the Illuminati was organized, a secret society of rich people that rules us. And how he was educated at the Q school, which is a Marxist school for rich people that teaches them the Hegelian dialectic, which is problem, reaction, solution, how to divide the masses by having bogus opposite teams to root for, like Republican and Democrat, when really they've already decided who's going to win. So you're voting. The only purpose of all that discussion is to get you to believe that you are free. It's so deep when you learn the facts that public education, and I'm sharing a lot of this info that Enter the Stars is discussing, you're free to look it up, but you are not educated in order to develop your talents. It has nothing to do with you as an individual. It is a very anti-individual concept. All of public education is communist, which means you are taught how to fit into the state, which is a made-up idea. So, people can wave their American flags and talk about the land of the free and home of the brave, but we have the concept of United States. People value states as where power comes from, the organization of individuals. And it becomes really impossible to debate these concepts, because if you're somebody like myself and the truth-seeking community who is self-educated and wants to do the right thing and wants to help break down the tyranny, which is what terrorism actually is. Terrorism is not the political person that is supposedly sending pipe bombs in the mail. It's not the brown person over in the Middle East that hates our freedoms. It's an organized federal government which doesn't belong to the people. It belongs to the bankers and the rich people that have always ruled. And they're such control freaks that they create ideas like the United States to control those who would stand against them. So there's more and more people that are giving up and seeing that that's the end of the mystery as to what is going on and what can you do about it, because I have been very upset with the truth community, and that all they do is analyze the media that they themselves call mind control. They don't do anything. And then they all, these people that create these channels act like they're offering some value. And now you're starting to see a change in that they're like, I would say post-Trump winning the election was a big change, because there have been many series of divisions within the truth-seeking community. A topic like the flat earth would be one of those that divided even the people that spend all their time debating and caring about these issues. Geoengineering and global warming would be another one of those examples of like, look, here's the congressional record that shows that there are patents for technology that can heat up the ionosphere and create any kind of weather they want, and create these wildfires. So everything's politicized, everything. So even, I came to a point to where it's like, if we are all, let's say we're correct, and a lot of this stuff is correct. Hey, why are you putting fluoride in the water, and on and on and on? What's up with these geoengineering chemtrails up in the sky from these planes that didn't used to be here, to the point that they are inserted in Disney animated movies like Cars, in the sky to normalize something as if it had always been there, which is a direct example of the mind control through media technique shown in 1984, where the main character's job was to revise history, to change news articles so that you can't find that information. This happens now. We've got Wikipedia, where the part about the Trump family history has been removed that shows that his name originally was Drumpf, Drumpf. But this isn't about all these little facts. It's not that there are not more new stories or concepts to look into. There's the Mandela effect. People are like, well, I remember Berenstain Bears, and now it's changed to Berenstein Bears. And people argue about what is the way that it was. Or then a real big one, I mean, they even get bigger, about Donald Trump connected to the Back to the Future movie, where he is like the Biff character who uses a sports almanac from the past to go into the past and make sports bets and become a casino magnate, which is like Trump. And then there is a book that has been recently discovered from the 1800s called The Adventures of Baron Trump, which is Trump's son's name. And it's really mind-boggling, because there is, if you've heard about Trump saying that he's smart because he has this uncle that was this scientist, and that, to a Democratic fan, that sounds funny, and they think they're smart to mock Trump for claiming that he knows something about global warming based on that. But the fact is that he did have this uncle that was a research scientist who was around Nikola Tesla, who very well may have found time travel technology, because all of the technology that we have of lasers, computers, and radio waves, television, Wi-Fi, wireless free power transmitted from the the electrons in the sky, that the sun is shining down, all this free energy. Anyway, it's just amazing, these concepts that are worth looking into. And then I've found, because of Enter the Stars talked about them. I don't remember who else was talking about it, but there's this economics professor from the 80s in the past, and his name was Anthony Sutton, and he was like a big-time truther, talking about how America started the Soviet Union. Wall Street did. The investors and all these companies like Ford went over there and built plants for them, and built military vehicles. They would not have been able to be a competitor to the United States. And again, what this is a controlled opposition concept. So I'll just play a little of this and go on from there, and look at my comment about the topic is how there's, according to these comments of people liking, I just wrote my response to what this gentleman, a Quantum of Conscious, has said. I resonated because now there's more of these people that are like truth seekers talking to each other about the state of what they think in general about their own truth-seeking endeavor, and how it's changing, and people are giving up. And then after I wrote my comment, I found somebody else who said the same thing, and it got like 200 something likes. So that's telling me there's other people that are like ready to throw in the towel, because we're not doing anything, and I just don't see us being able to organize in any way to do anything. So here's a sample.
Hey guys, it's Matt. I'm not really sure how to put this, and I'm sure the powers that be will be thrilled to
So
hear
Matt
this,
is his name.
but we just have to be honest. I don't trust anybody anymore in these circles. Not anybody, you know what I mean? That's a generalization. And I'm sure that was part of the tactic, just to get so many people to give bad information at the wrong time, at the right time. We knew, I mean, we know what Alex Jones is at this point. We've known for, I don't know, it became very clear about 3 years ago. Hey, to all of you that just knew what Alex Jones was 6 or 7 years ago, hey, that's great. I'm being honest. Even myself, most of us, didn't realize the extent of the controlled or graduated animal farm, how far it went. So I'm sure the powers that be love videos like this, where I'm just going to say, we don't trust anybody anymore. I think I'm speaking for a lot of you. I'll give you an example, and I don't want the comment section to turn into who is David Icke or what is David Icke. You'll get the same types of comments. Oh, he's controlled this, or he worked for the BBC, which means he's controlled by this group, or you love David Icke. Let's not turn it into that. Let's keep this more in general about the loss of trust we're all probably having in this community. And that, I guess, point at me. But I really believe one of the reasons this channel has been relatively successful. I say again, I'm not looking for new subscribers, and I don't advertise, but all of a sudden I find myself with about 20,000 subscribers. I don't do anything fancy graphics, or I really believe people sense that even though I don't have 1/2 of the answers, I don't have 1/10 of the answers, every so often, every so many weeks, I think I have a pretty good insight on something. I see something with a unique perspective. But people are here because they know I'm for real. Why would he be saying he's for real if he's for real? I know how skeptical we all are of everybody. But, and if everybody was skeptical that I'm some operative doing something, and I get those types of comments, of course, it's unavoidable. But if I generally didn't feel people trusted not just me, but the commenters, and the general trust of this forum here is very, very high. And one of the reasons for the success of this channel is because that trust, it doesn't exist anymore. It's insane. I'll just give you an example. I don't want this to turn into a video about David Icke at all, because the comments you'll get. Well, he's this, he's controlled by this, he was BBC. Let's just use David Icke as an example. Please, no comments on David Icke. Well, maybe we'll work into that, but not for now, please. I don't know where this is going.
I'm just going to pause it there. He's going to go on to say he questions the specific topic about I think it's the Viking satellites, that are supposedly 30 years beyond their original date when they were only supposed to last 7 years, being able to still transmit a signal to Earth when it's beyond the solar system, and just questioning the how is that possible, based on what the known design characteristics are. But again, it's just more of an example of how the skeptical nature of critical thinking that was applied to events like 9/11 are now being applied to the presenters in the truth arena, right? So that definitely people like David Icke and Alex Jones can be said to be controlled opposition based on their contacts with other people, and what they say and how they make everyone look crazy for being a critical thinker, so that the public can go, oh, you're one of those nutballs like Alex Jones. But then, then there's this other level of where more and more of us are critiquing what's anything coming of any of this. So I'll just go and show you the comments here. Wade Wilson, we seem to have entered the postmodern stage of truth-seeking. After a decade of tireless research, I feel like I don't need to look anymore. Nothing has withstood testing. We live in a prison of lies and deception. It's time to move beyond truth-seeking if it no longer motivates many of us. New flavors of the month will continue to arrive, but I'm turning my back and trying to live a simple life in spite of what I know. I'm not trying to educate anyone. I am moving past. Love matters and little else does. Peace. 226 likes. I haven't even really looked at the replies. Let's see what we see here. Brilliantly stated, sir. What a worthless comment to leave, you know, like, oh, we really need you to say bravo. And this is the problem with the idea of what the internet has done is distributed a library of information of humanity to the most people ever, and very few of those people can think halfway straight. Well, that's what we can see, you know, in terms of if you are into critical thinking and debate and discourse and discussion, you know, just to these are vapid comments. We don't need somebody just parroting, I agree, I agree. You know, that's what the like button is for. Not to be rude, but people sharing their experience, and then you know, I just wrote, I resonate very much with your view. You think it's funny how people cannot understand one of the zillion info points that are worth questioning against each day's news. Like there's no postage paid stamps from UPS on these envelopes CNN is showing you, but that this supposed pipe bomber has sent. That's odd. Let alone those of the 9/11 comedy. Like he was saying, you know, these planes were just eviscerated into this building, and there was all this fire and destruction, yet there is an intact landing gear with an inflated tire. You know, they have passports intact of the hijackers were found on the ground. Come on. I mean, just that's what drives people like us nuts. It's like, this is ridiculous to believe this. I think we truth seekers are funny in that we are like nerd sports fans who fawn over pro athletes but don't play ball themselves. We have never done anything about what we learn. We're in an analysis paralysis. Name one way that our lives are better or that we make any more of a positive contribution than those who love the Masonic charade. Crickets. So as welcome and enjoyable as it is to hear someone react to the plot points of the past year's Scooby-Doo mystery we are stuck in, it's more like attending a meeting of Truth Seekers Anonymous. Hi, I'm Chad. Hi, Chad. I'm a truth seeker. I admit I'm powerless to stop analysis paralysis. I thought something might come of giving a flip other than loneliness and being both ostracized from my community and wanting to be. I thought if I found other truth seekers, we could organize, but they just want to talk and make money off their YouTube channels made for them by the cabal they criticize. We learned that the Hegelian dialectic is used to divide and conquer us, so our great work is to point out how stupid everyone is and how we don't trust anyone. I find it very frustrating. We argue with the very content creators whose work we share, which can be understandable as we have different views, but I don't think many of us have embraced the idea of a United States where we have to cooperate or will be opposed to everyone, which is not how a community works. Should we even value the idea of a group, a community, if we see the free individual is under attack by the moneyed elite? Are they individuals if they are dependent upon a secret society and us as their slaves? I think life itself is an unsolvable, paradoxical riddle beyond the control scheme, as Matt suggested. Maybe it's like how our bodies are portable universes themselves, yet they serve us as we too are cells within a larger cosmic organism. The only value to our lives seems to be to a higher power. So why do we persist in valuing this fantasy of freedom being to be autonomous? What would life be if it wasn't controlled by a central authority? We haven't spent any time considering that, have we? No, we say we are controlled by media, so our solution is to obsess over it, being contrarian. Contradiction is the only language we know. Is that who God is? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. Well, now the Word is us, and the vibration of both the physical and metaphysical, yet we seek a conclusion to our investigations. This is what happened and what we did about it. What are we going to do about God/the Word? End it? Promote freedom from speech? How long do we have to beat ourselves against this rock of reason before we break down? We know if we walk far enough into the all that every road meets back up with itself, yet we are compelled to keep on keeping on. All one can do is submit to accept the unsolvable mystery or argue with what is true. That is the only change I see, is that we tap out one day and admit the best thing to do is give up, just like the normalized folk do. If I can help you in a cooperative effort, I sure will, but I'm feeling the need to know when to say when. Just looking at how economics professor Anthony Sutton of Cal State was the original truther of our times, who said America via Wall Street created the Soviet Union via corporate might. So if those better folk than us didn't do anything, then neither will we. We were taught to investigate all this by the cabal, so we would be their historians who admit defeat. This is why we are allowed to discuss all this, I think. I apologize for sounding so negative, but this appears to be the big truth to accept. We say we want unity and not division, but we don't think what that would mean. Acceptance. Imagine not having to argue anymore because we know enough to accept that psychos rule over us, and we allow it, and we're not going to be able to fight them and win with violence or self-education. We can't even figure how to get off Facebook. Truth nuke at ground zero. Boom. P.S. Jan Irvin has contacted me via private message 3 times asking if I would come around to accept MKUltra is CIA, which we all know in this community and agree with in our mind world. Sorry about that. It seems like he may be an operative, because why would he call me stupid but then care what I think? If that isn't some 1984 torture of 4 plus 4 equals 5, demanding that somebody give you the answer they want that you know is wrong, I don't know what is. At least we aren't a snotty, superior acting prick whose reputation precedes him like Yen. First, he was the wannabe lord of the internet, sharing Terence McKenna Gnosticism, and then switched to a total left-brain blind approach where only he is capable of understanding the trivium, the classical arts of grammar, logic, and rhetoric he uses to demean others with unless they yield to his view, like he is venom or something. So, yeah, I mean, I certainly want to move on because nothing is changing. We are not changing anything. What do you think about that? Whether you are into truth seeking or you think we're all nuts, I don't care. I just am interested to see if you care enough to comment. Thank you.